Hi everybody, this video is going to talk about how to use LockDown browser on Schoology in Fremont Union High School District. So what you do is you come down here. I have my assessment that I want to use LockDown browser on. I'm going to click over here on LockDown browser. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get this new tab or this new page. It's going to be blue on the top to tell you know you're in the right place. Reasons why you might want to use LockDown browser is that it provides a secure or a more secure testing environment. This isn't a substitute for you walking around, of course, and paying attention to what's going on, but it is just one more thing that kind of gives you a little bit more confidence that everything's on the up and up. So when you click on LockDown browser, you'll see all the assessments here that are eligible for a LockDown browser. You'll click this little down button here and get into settings. And it's going to give you some options. The default is not to require a LockDown browser for the exam. All you'll have to do is click on Require Respond to LockDown browser for this exam. There are some advanced settings here. I really don't use any of these, honestly. We don't want kids to be using an iPad. There's some security issues with that. These are your preference. As I teach English, I don't need them to print or have a calculator or have access to a specific external web domain. If you want to do that, you can set that up there. This top one, lock students in the browser until exam is complete. That can be troublesome if they have some kind of internet issue and need to restart. You can hit that and require a password so that you have to go over and give them a password to get out of the exam. That's up to you. I personally don't use it that way. This down here is the proctoring part. This is more designed for, say, at-home testing like during remote learning. We aren't using this at all, so just leave this as don't require proctoring for this exam. And then you click Save. After you do that, you want to come up here to, if you have linked sections, come to the other one and do the same thing. You will click on Settings again and click on Require and Save again. What this does is LockDown browser, it prevents them from copying and pasting, it prevents them from screenshotting, it prevents them from opening other tabs or being on other websites, so that you can have a little bit more confidence that what the inputs that they're giving you are their actual work. Couple of troubleshooting things about this. Number one, if a student has to leave the exam, they will be prompted to give a reason. They'll have a little box where they type in the reason that they have to leave. And honestly, the best troubleshooting tool that we have in our arsenal when something goes wrong with LockDown browser is to restart the computer. To X out of LockDown browser and try again, or if that doesn't work, to restart the computer. When they exit LockDown browser, they'll have to give a reason. They'll have to type in a reason as to why they left the browser before the test was complete. You can find those reasons right here where it says review early exits. On this, of course, nobody's taken it, so we don't have any early exits, but that's where that would be. You don't get a notification, but you can come back and review them there. Students need to have LockDown browser installed on their machine. If it's their own personal machine, when they click into an assessment that requires LockDown browser, it'll prompt them saying, hey, you need LockDown browser for this, and there'll be a link at the top. They can install it from that link. That's a specific link to our version of LockDown browser for our district. It's already configured for our district. So it's really important that they install it from there. If they're using a district-issued Chromebook, it will be installed by default. So they shouldn't have any problems with that. We've heard conflicting reports on student-owned Chromebooks. They should work just fine because it should install onto their Google account, but they may have to go and get an extension or something like that. What we recommend is that before you use LockDown browser on something that is going to be for points, what you should do is do a simple one-question assessment in order to make sure that they can all access the quiz or the assessment, and that their LockDown browsers are set up properly on their machines. So what I did was I just made an assessment that in one question said, can you see this? And if their LockDown browser is configured correctly, they'll be able to get into that quiz and say yes. If it's not configured correctly, they won't even be able to get into the quiz. So that's a really easy way to check. Give yourself a little bit of time. Sometimes people have issues getting in not because of LockDown browser or because of Schoology, but because of network congestion. What we suggest is that you do a staged entry. So maybe you have this row here goes in, and then 1 minute later the middle row goes in, and a minute later this row over here goes in, something like that. It's up to you. So that is LockDown browser. If you have any questions, please let your Schoology lead teacher know. Thank you very much.